Welcome to the Cynthia Nyamai show. Now, what would you do if you woke up one morning and it's all black and you realize that you have lost your eyesight? Our guest today, at the peak of her life, her early 30s, just when she began to realize who she was and the direction that she wanted to take career-wise, she found herself blind. Her story is coming up shortly. Thank you so much, Eve Kibare, for joining us today. I watched your story, not interview, but it's you narrating your story.
Yeah.
And I learned so much. So that's why I was like, let me have you on the show.
Thank you.
I'd like others. Things I think I take for granted, I learned from you, Eve. But let's first start with you growing up. Where did you grow up? And what were your dreams?
Well, I grew up in Zimmerman, Nairobi, born and bred.
Yes.
My dreams, I was one of those confused children who didn't know exactly what they wanted to be.
Yeah.
There was a time, I think in class 1, I wanted to be a bus driver for Coastline.
Why? Because you wanted to go to Coast
No,
every other
it was such a gisty bus. It was not like the stagecoach.
Yes.
It was the eyes, the face, and then when the horn, you're like,
yes.
This is it. Because at that time, my dad was working in Mombasa.
Yeah.
So whenever we'd go to Mombasa or coming back, you know, Coastline was like now modern coast for now.
Yeah.
So you look at this bus, you're like, this guy, Kwanzaa, he's like the pro.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't gone on been on a plane before.
Yes,
So for me, this was like a plane.
Yeah.
Then I'm looking at this driver, I'm like, this guy is the G,
Yeah.
you know, because he's on his own.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he's struggling. Then my dad laughed at that. My mom thought I was very defocused. But I was the smart kid.
Yeah.
So it was just more out of fun. Then at some point, I think now I was a fan of wrestling.
Yeah. Okay.
So I thought it would be really cool to be Undertaker's wife. Because no one would mess
around with you. You'd always have your
you guys just dimmer the lights and then you're all dead.
Yeah.
But anyway, being the smart kid, being the top student, it's like you're designed to work towards a certain way. Like your mind you're socialized to be in one particular or towards a particular profession.
Exactly.
Or towards particular professions.
Yeah.
So I remember in class 8, we had this thing called graduation day. I mean, is it graduation day, where you get to say, someone gets to talk about you. So in my school, it was called Harvest Day, Marion Farmhouse.
Yeah.
So someone says you have to write what you want to become when you grow up. I said I want to become a pediatrician because I wanted to work with kids. I loved kids.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, well, I'm a top student. Medicine would be such a bad thing to do. I'm good in math. So why not?
Yeah.
So I said pediatrician.
Yeah.
Then I go to high school and I'm like, well, things are different.
Yeah.
So at the end of high school, I realized I was really pathetic in academics.
Yeah.
As in, I just dropped for some weird reason. I do not.
What changed now when you think about it?
I think I was in a school where everyone is a top student.
Yeah.
You've all been combined into one school.
Yeah.
The system is the same.
Yeah.
So I realized the education system in Kenya doesn't suit everybody, and the way my mind worked was not the way it was. It's not been forced to work differently.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm not a crammist. I don't know how to do cramming.
Yes.
I'm more of an understanding kind of person.
Yeah.
So teach me to understand, then I will flourish.
Yes. Yeah.
If I'm not understanding, that goes like that.
Yeah.
So here is high school. Everyone is like we are all a bunch of top students from all over the country, and you're being forced. A teacher comes and says, read on your own, ask me questions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I read it like a novel, and to me those were very big jargons, and I'm not understanding. So for a long time that wasn't working for me. Eventually I didn't really perform. So towards the end of Form 4, I realized I had to go through my academic, and I'm like, okay, I'm so bad at this. And it's not because I'm not intelligent. It's just the system didn't suit me. So I was good in languages and in history. So it's like, what would I do if these are my clusters? So out goes medicine, out goes anything to do with big profession. And I remember looking towards media and theater arts. So a teacher of our teachers would, our vice principal encouraged us to apply to schools abroad. And I was like, why not? You know, like, just take the opportunity. So when I was applying, I was going to schools that were offering media arts and theater arts, things to do with things that I know I can be really good at. So eventually, when we finished Form 4, I realized these things are not available here. So I wanted to do child psychology. We finished Form 4, and our results come out, and that was the worst year performed. So our grades have also been subtracted because there's a whole political thing about it. So I'm told I can't do child psychology because I have to bridge biology. So now I have to change. I have to think of what do I like doing. So eventually I ended up doing mass communication. And the funny thing about it is, later on when you tell someone you're doing people who knew me from my childhood are wondering, why did you choose mass communication?
You had the brains for something bigger.
And I'm like, well, I'm glad I failed because I got to choose what I want to do. I wasn't forced into a profession. I actually joined a profession that I actually enjoy. So I did mass communication and majored in TV production because I found TV production more intense and it has an array of opportunities. So I ended up now doing TV production, and even now career-wise, I joined the film production industry more than media.
And then got into the film industry?
Yes. I got into the film industry in 2013. And I worked first as a production manager. Then at some point, I joined another company. I started with Dreamcatcher Productions. Then I joined 626 Entertainment and was a producer for TV shows. So Dreamcatcher was more corporate, doing corporate productions. And 626 was more TV shows. So Tujuane, Couple Show, Seto, like that. Then now I quit and decided to start my business in 2016. I had an online lingerie store called Eden Lingerie. And for me, that I started it because I was frustrated with the industry because I wasn't getting a job, and the job that I had I wasn't flourishing in it. And I'm very bad at like, if I'm not good at something, I feel really bad. So I kind of not give up, but just I'd rather not do something mediocre. I'd rather do something and be really, really good at it. So I started the business, and for me, why I started the business was because I never had time to shop. 1 minute you're in Kenya, you're being told, oh, we have to go for a shoot in Dar, and you're thinking, when you go hang your things in the, you're like, these people are going to think what is wrong with me. So I started doing it for women who don't have time to shop and deliver it to their offices and their homes. And I realized there was a niche there. So I did it from 2016 till now when I fell ill in June. 2020.
And that's where I was coming fast forward last year. And you lost your eyesight. Take us through how did it start? Because you didn't lose it in one day.
No, I had headaches, I think from around, let me just say probably November, but they were in and out. They were not consecutive. So I'd have headaches. I'm like, hey, today I have a headache. But then it's because at that time, so many things were happening, you know. I'm trying to make my business make sense. I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to look for other gigs in communication. I was trying to build myself as a communication consultant. so that I can work with different, small businesses to maybe build them in a way, in brand marketing,
Yes.
Doing their websites, just for people, because now I was dipped into agribusiness, youth in agribusiness, and I was even working with youth around the continent, and I realized what these people are lacking is making their businesses look like marketable or attractive, because most people look at farming as
yeah, it sort of feels like you had done so many things with your life,
yes,
and then last year is when everything was coming together, and all the different things you had learned in the different industries were now coming together.
Yes,
but then you fell ill.
Yes. So now, at first I thought it was anxiety, so I never really put any kino. I was like, I'll take Maramoja, I'm good, and it actually worked. I go to bed, I'm like, it actually went. I wake up the next morning, I'm good. Now May comes in, and there's COVID, and people are stressed already. I'm trying to make sure that I meet my rent. I meet my bills. So here I am, I'm waking up in the morning, I have a stiff neck. So even when I'm going downstairs, I have my neighbors downstairs who had a shop, they sell groceries and food. I'm like, I feel like my neck is stiff. And then they're like, labda ulilala vibaya. So I'm like, okay, fine, let's do this again tomorrow. So it lasted like a week, then it went away. So I was like, what was that? Is my body trying to tell me that I don't know how to sleep? And then I was doing a lot of, I was getting my body was becoming uncomfortable. You see, the way I'm seated right now, it was impossible to sit this long like this, because my shoulders would start feeling pain, and I'd start having muscle pulls, and my neck would start feeling stiff and painful, and I'd start fidgeting and be like, I think I should sit on the floor, or maybe I should go sit somewhere. So on Wednesday, the 10th of June is when I could not get out of bed. It was impossible. I was in so much pain. My neck was so stiff. My head was banging. And now I'm like, this is actually serious sickness. So I was in and out of bed like twice. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, I need to see a doctor. So I went, saw the doctor that Wednesday, and I was told it's bacterial infection. I'm like, in 5 days, I'll be good.
Fine. And after 5 days, you're not fine. I'm going to come back to that. Let me take a short break. And 5 days later, she was still not well, and a long journey in and out of hospitals began. That and more coming up shortly. Welcome back. We're so glad that you're still here with us. Now, before the break, we were getting to know Eve better, and she was telling us about her first trip to hospital. And the doctor said it's an infection. 5 days later, you should be fine. 5 days later, what happened?
5 days or 3 days later, I wake up and my eyes are glassy, and I'm thinking, wait, I should be getting better, not worse. And my headaches haven't gone. I haven't been able to sleep. So literally I'm exhausted. I'm lethargic. I'm in pain and I can't see. So that just threw me off the radar completely. And I remember melting down. And
when you couldn't see, like what
I thought it was a dream. So I went back to sleep. I was like, no, wrong door. So I went back to sleep. I woke up and I'm like, this is for real. So that had been like that for till August, September. I was discharged. I went into hospital on the 17th. I was admitted on the 17th. I was discharged, I think, on the 29th of July. So this is like 2 months later.
Let me take you back 2 months before. So you go to bed, you're thinking it's a dream. You wake up, you still can't see.
So it's glassy.
So when you can't see, what does that mean?
It's glassy. It's I can see you. I can see your figure. But I can't see details. I can't tell you, like, if you have like black earrings. I wouldn't tell what earrings you're wearing. I could just tell your figure, your clothes, if they're bright colored. I can see your eyes and nose.
So what did that mean? Could you easily dress yourself?
I was okay. It's just I'm not seeing HD.
But you're thinking it will get better.
Yes. And it kept getting worse because at that particular day I could still see text, but it was really painful to look at text. Then eventually I could not see text at all. I could see the screen is white, but I can't tell the details on the phone.
Did it ever occur to you that maybe I might not be able to see ever again?
At that point, no. I'm thinking the headaches must be the ones causing this, so I need to know what's going on with me.
Again, because when we hear someone is blind, a lot of times we assume they were born blind. So this will pass.
So and it's not even that. It's I'm seeing blurry and I have headaches, so I'm thinking I'll get better.
Once the headaches go.
Because we need to know what the headaches are about. So you feel like it's something that's pressing on something, so if we remove it, things will get better.
So you're thinking it's just a symptom of something. And what were the doctors saying?
For 5 weeks we didn't know what was wrong with me because all the tests were done, blood tests, CT scan, and the first MRI was done. So the second MRI, they had to go into the veins and the arteries, and that's when they found a blood clot in my brain. And after that, they said, even the ophthalmologists that were looking into my eyes are saying, your eyes are okay, Eve. There's a problem, but the problem is not from our side. And the neurologist is like, well, I don't see my problem is a blood clot, so I'll deal with the blood clot. So the idea was if the blood clot dissolves, my sight would come back eventually. So that was the hope. So when I was being discharged, I had the hope that if the blood clot dissolves, because it's like a traffic jam, the blood is trying to look for other ways to get out of the brain. And now they were pressing on the optic nerve, and the optic nerve was now swollen and bleeding from the inside. So at that point, they called it optic neurosis. So after some time, they put me on pressure meds to reduce the pressure that was also accumulating in my brain, and gave me blood thinners and also anticonvulsants, because at some point I even started convulsing. So with the hope that if things dissolve, I'll get better. So August, I was okay. I'd actually started regaining some of my sight back. I could text, I could watch a movie, I could watch a series, I could go outside, I could go to the supermarket on my own. It's just that I was walking like a drunk. Most people thought that I was drunk all the time. So now September comes in and everything starts getting dimmer. And I was like, no, something is wrong. Either my house has become darker or something is wrong. So I told my neurologist. He said, you should check with your ophthalmologist to see if there's any problem from the eyesight. So when I went to see, finally when I got an ophthalmologist that was able to check up on my eyes, I first went to Lions, and they said the process is irreversible because the damage has already been done on the optic nerve. So I'm like, okay, that's the first time I actually thought this is never going to get better. And I remember sitting back at the reception area and I just cried. I was like, wow.
And when news like this is broken to you at the hospital, do they take you through counseling or?
No, it was in 2 minutes. I walked in, I told them, sir, my eyes have been blurry from this time because of this. Is there a possibility that this can be reversed at least when the blood clot is dissolved? Like, no, damage already done, but you bring your scan, look at it, then we will know, but damage already done. We can't reverse. And I'm like, okay, wow.
This is my life you're talking about.
Yes, and then you say, next. So you walk out and you're like, so what does that even mean? So after that, it was still getting dimmer and dimmer. So it was closing in. It's like you have layers. You've ever put, I think when we were kids used to do that. You'd put a polythene. The ones that you used to put for milk or whatever, sugar. Put the polythene on your eyes. the way you'd see through the polythene. That's what was going on.
So it's like life is just dimming right in front of your eyes.
So you have holes.
Yes.
It's like you like there's the nylon, and then you make holes at the eye side, at the eye area, and then with time the holes start closing in. So you're seeing, but you're not really seeing. So they started closing in, and then now my ophthalmologist, the next one I went to see was at Kenyatta, called Dr. Nyamai, and she was like, I think it could be optic neurosis again. So they put me on steroids, and then after some time, after 3 days, nothing improved. So she talked to my neurologist, and they suggested I go for surgery to put in a shunt in my brain. So that the pressure, it's the pressure that was building. It wasn't dissolving as fast as they thought it would with the pressure meds. So I was admitted now at Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. I did the surgery on October 3rd, and still the holes were closing in. So by the time I'm being discharged, when I was admitted, I could pay. I did my own transaction. I paid for my admission. But by the time I'm being discharged, I couldn't see my phone.
Wow.
So I couldn't pay for someone else had to do it. I could still see bright colors, but I couldn't tell details anymore. And in 2 weeks after that, I couldn't see color at all. I could just see figures. And by the end of 2 weeks, I could just see shadows. And like 2 weeks after that, I could not see.
That's around November.
Yes. I cannot see anything at all. I can't say if you've passed. I'll just feel the wind or your figure, but I won't tell who or what just passed. Yeah.
And then, so after that, when did it finally hit you that, you know what, I've completely lost my sight? What happened that you realized, okay, now I've lost my sight, and what should I do next?
You wake up every morning, and once the holes start closing in, it started hitting me that I am losing my sight, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Did you ever feel like maybe there are things I need to do before I completely lose my sight?
I tried that in September before going to hospital. I was trying to watch as many series as possible, but they only have 24 hours. So, but with time I just let go. And now when it's coming into November, between October and November, I saw everything literally disappearing. And that's when it hit me that I'm actually going to lose my sight completely. I begged to die so many times. I would wake up and I'm like, why am I alive? I thought we agreed yesterday I should have died. And then I'd be awake. So I was on I was just existing for some time. I knew my ophthalmologist had advised that I go to the rehab center, but I wasn't ready. I'm like, I don't even think I want to go somewhere for someone to tell me everything will be okay, because everything will not be okay. My life is changing. The rehab
center, is it for counseling or
no,
even retraining of how?
Well, that's what I thought.
Okay.
I joined it in June this year, 2021. And I thought they're going to take me through therapy, through learning Braille, through
because you sort of have to learn how to do everything all over again.
But that's the impression. But you go there and there's nothing. It's just learning Braille and learning how to walk with a white cane, which is basically instinct, and computer packages, which it's not really, they don't put emphasis on it. So I feel like, yes, it's put in it's like the way education system is set up in Kenya. You have to go to primary school, then you go to secondary school. It's not the quality of education. It's you have to finish for you to get somewhere. So even rehab is just rehab for the sake of saying you went to rehab, but it's not really offering people a chance at a new start with a new start of life as a blind person. The only thing probably I've gained from that is basic braille, which I won't use. Even the computer packages, I think I can listen to a YouTube video and just figure it out. But the therapy, no. It's basic. It's like people just talking about it. The same way people say, go to church and tell the pastor. The pastor will just tell you what he knows. But you're the only one who knows how it hurts. And people need to understand that every person who's losing something, it could be you're losing a relationship, you're losing your job, you're losing whatever you're losing, physical, mental, psychological, like whatever you're losing, people should be treated differently. I losing my sight and someone who lost their sight 5 years ago does not mean we are all put in one box and treated the same way. You have to go through that acceptance. And it takes some people longer than others to accept. So I think I dealt with my therapy on my own by listening to music and having a very beautiful support system of my family and friends. They're the ones who kept me alive. They're the ones who kept me going. They gave me reason to grow, to keep going. And they kept suggesting things that I should do to, keep going. So eventually, a group of friends that I had worked with in the film industry, I asked them if they could help me do a YouTube channel so that I could speak on these things that I'm going through. And I'm thinking, if I'm going through this is what people have been dealing with for all these many years. When they go blind, what about those who are born blind and they don't know any better? That's the only life they've known. Is this what they have to put up with? And what about us? Because I'm in my 30s. There are guys who are in their 40s, 50s at the rehab center. How do you still help that person move? They've lost their sight, yes. Prayers, fine. But let's be honest with each other. Some of these people are parents. Some people are partners to other people. Some were in the middle of building their house, because this doesn't happen with a schedule. You are in the middle of doing something, then your lights have gone out. How do you help this person still continue living their lives? Do you consider that this person needs, some sort of process in a way that if they finish the rehab, because the rehab doesn't really offer you that, but if you finish with the rehab, they should be able to connect you back to some sort of like work. If you are a business person, can they add on some skills that you have, which do not necessarily need sight for you to move on? I was running a business. You have a business mind, that's cool. Let's do this business. Let's apply these skills for 3 months and help you set up your business or whatever business again. Or you are working in accountancy, in the ministry or wherever you are doing it. Let's give you this skill for 3 months and help you get back work wherever you can get back work. But you've been offered computer packages. Who'll give you a job with computer packages? And Braille, because no one is using Braille in the market right now. I'm a film producer. I was a film producer. I can't do film, but I can do audio. Is there anyone to take me through the learning of how to do audio production and employ me? No one has that time. They all want you to do it by yourself, but you don't know how. You've lost your sight. But there's no one who's willing to. There's that gap. You've lost your sight, but you need to move on. So you find most people fall out. It's you go blind, you fall out of the society, and you find people become beggars, not because they are lazy, not because they want to be beggars. They have nothing else to look forward to. And losing your sight is way major, because it's like the basic. You can't do things on your own. There's so many things you can't do on your own anymore. I couldn't have come for this interview on my own. Because by the time I leave the taxi, who's going to bring me to you? How will I get to the reception? There are no people to actually get you from point A to point B. So the system is not set up in a way that it can accommodate you as a blind person back into the system of working, of even parenting. If you don't have a good support system, you are screwed. And you have to stay at home and figure it out. And it's hard. I feel bad that I can't support myself. I'm not independent anymore. I don't have a source of income anymore. But for how long can you beg?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
If the system was set up in a way that it can accommodate you, even if it's a year, take a year off and let's do this. You know, there's somewhere you can actually add skills to yourselves. Show us, maybe there's because I know technology is there. It's just that we need to know how to impact it back on those people.
Yes.
And get me the skill that, because I asked someone, I can actually do audio. I have so much knowledge on production. I don't think I'm disabled in that way. It's just that I wouldn't be able to do film because it's visual.
Yeah.
But audio, it's listening. They say we don't have equipment that can suit your needs. So who's going to make those that equipment to suit my needs, you know?
Yeah. I think these are things we take for granted.
Yeah.
And when I was listening to you on YouTube, I started thinking about it. Even when I was inviting you to come over, how will she make it?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to also ask, do you need assistance? Should we pick you?
No, but
because
you
I also don't.
should.
Oh, okay. So I didn't, because I didn't want to make you feel like you're needy or
But the thing is,
yes,
I am disabled. No matter what language you put on it, I am disabled.
Yes.
There's a sense that I do not have. It's not working as usual for me. That is, and it's working for you.
Yeah.
So if someone is deaf, ask them, is there anything, you know, how will you get from point A to point B? Or do you need something? So for that interview, you need someone to do sign language, you know, to accommodate them. Or if they do have someone, they can bring that person on board and they can sit with that person. Asking is not bad. It's just, you know, now you're more aware of how to handle the person better. It is okay. Because if we create that awareness, we are able to treat people better. And I can say that most people don't treat me badly because some people don't know what to do with me. They just don't know. You know, but now the whole point of the YouTube channel is I'm just letting you know this is what I want. I'm also letting you know this is what my colleagues want. This one is looking for a job. Ni mama mtoto. But she can do this and this and this. Just give her a chance. I can do this and this. Give me a chance. I need to go for shopping. Who will take me?
Are you now looking for a job, and what kind of job are you looking for?
If there's anything, I even said it in the newspapers. I was interviewed in the newspaper. I said I would want to be a radio host and do audio production because it's my field. I love doing this. And for me, it's telling African stories because I stopped thinking just in Kenya because of meeting people in other African countries and realizing that we are all going through the same problems. So telling African stories through audio would be such a dope plan for me.
Having going blind, how has it changed you and your life and your perspective even of life?
First thing is you stop worrying about small things, like how people look. You start treating people the way they treat you. It's how they make you feel. It's not how they look. And you're more accommodative of people. I feel like I was a snob. But there are people now. I'm not going into a room and talking to people based on how they look. It's based on what kind of aura or what kind of vibes are they giving you, you know.
So in a way, you're actually seeing people for who they are.
It's not for what you look like. You could have a very beautiful suit on, but you're talking crap. So I have nothing to tell you. It's also made me think of the basic human instinct is to survive. And it's just those things that make life better. It's the kindness, it's the care. I can wake up in the morning and listen to music and go to bed at night and I'm okay. It's the simple courtesy you give someone. And it's the people who've shown me so much love are the ones, it's not about the money they're giving me. It's about the support. Like, if what do you want to do? Today I want to go to the supermarket. I don't have the money. Okay, fine. Let's just go buy this today because this is what we can afford. You know, it's helped me appreciate my friends in a very big way. The ones who've supported me through this journey, you know. It's also made me, I don't know, love more. And not take things for granted. Because now I'm not able to do some things. And I'm like, why are we always fretting about the big stuff? It's always, oh, I need to do this ASAP. I'm like, ASAP, you can die. How is that ASAP going to help you? Is it, what do you take care of the most? It's your health. The minute your health goes off, everything else doesn't matter. And I watched my friends, the ones I was with at the ward for like those 6 weeks. Most of them didn't make it. It's not even about the blindness, it's also just health. If you're healthy, you're peaceful, everything else will fall into place. You don't need the big mansion, because right now I don't care how big this room is, but does it serve the purpose? Does it give me the warmth that I need for me to prosper? Then that is what works.
And what keeps you going?
Good music, good food, audiobooks, and good vibes from people, from family, from friends. And also now the thing that is also keeping me going is my YouTube channel, because I hope for it to grow. I don't have the money for it, but there are people who are offering to help me pro bono for now. But I would hope for that to grow to levels of talking about visual impairedness, not just in Kenya, not just in the city, even in the rural areas, because the less fortunate are the ones who suffer the most. They can't speak out about their illnesses. Most people, when they lose their sight in Ushago, they go back home and become that furniture. Because they don't know about rehab, and even rehab is not going to offer them any solutions. So what do they do with their lives after that? They go back home and sit and wake up, eat, sleep, wake up, eat, sleep, you know. That's it.
Thank you so much, Eve, for joining us today and sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Well, you heard it from our guest today. Eve lost her eyesight. But listening to her, you get to see that her vision for life became bigger. See you next time.